Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared across the void as the last human dreadnought slipped out of its temporal shadow. I, Admiral Cale Rourke, watched through the viewport as the stars themselves shifted under the black signal's command. For 3 centuries, Earth slept, silent, hidden. Now, our fleets emerged, hulls black as void, weapons humming like dormant storms awakened. Across every channel, alien fleets scrambled, unprepared for the ghost of a civilization they believed dead. The galaxy hadn't heard from us. Until now. A whisper of betrayal echoed through the comms. "Admiral, the Andari cloaks are destabilizing. They know we're here." I clenched my fist. No, it wasn't fear. It was anticipation. Humanity had learned patience in the dark, and now we struck with precision born of centuries underground. Every maneuver, every decoy, every quantum missile was calculated. This was more than war. It was reclamation. And as the first Andari destroyer flared and disintegrated under our weapons, I knew the black signal had done more than wake us. It had awakened destiny. The fleet advanced through the nebula, sensors straining to detect the unseen. "Commander Vash, adjust the photonic sweeps. They won't remain hidden for long," I ordered. The black signal's aftermath left a trail of panic and chaos among the alien coalitions. Every sensor blip was a question mark. Every silent corridor of space held threats, some cloaked, some waiting. Our ships moved like predators through a forest of stars, calculated, patient, lethal. Suddenly, a pulse of unknown energy struck the fleet's outer escort. Shields flared, armor groaned, and Vash swore. "Unknown technology, Admiral. It's resonating with our drives." My mind raced. The black signal hadn't just reawakened us. It was a key, and the galaxy's locks were beginning to respond. Humanity's hidden technologies, buried beneath Earth's crust for centuries, now hummed in symphony with the fleet. And somewhere out there, in the dark, an unseen hand was pulling strings we hadn't yet seen. I watched the first alien fleet materialize from the shadows of a binary star system. "All hands, battle stations." The words barely left my lips before energy lances tore across the void. Human and alien ships collided in silent explosions, debris drifting like cosmic ash. Each strike, each maneuver, tested centuries of simulation and strategy. The black signal wasn't just an activation, it was evolution compressed into seconds. Our enemies didn't understand the precision they were facing. Amid the chaos, I felt it. A familiar pulse in the fleet's network. The old AI cores, long buried beneath Earth's oceans, responded instantly. "They're adapting," Vash muttered. I shook my head. Adaptation wasn't enough. Humanity had patience, foresight, and now the element of surprise. Every vessel, every weapon, every commander was a link in a chain centuries in the making. As the first alien capital ship erupted into fire, I allowed myself a brief, cold smile. The war had begun, but we were already decades ahead. Debris drifted past the bridge like ghostly reminders of forgotten civilizations. Sensors picked up signals, a fragment of code embedded in the pulse that awoke us. "Admiral, are these messages?" Vash asked. I stared at the endless void. The black signal was more than activation. It was guidance, a map hidden in frequencies no one else could read. Our fleets followed their path, a constellation of human vengeance weaving through alien territory. But there was unease. Every victory brought more questions. Why had the galaxy ignored us for 3 centuries? Who sent the black signal? And, perhaps most dangerously, what part of our own technology might we awaken that even we could not control? As our ships glided past a dormant Dyson array, I felt a flicker of dread. The war had begun, but the secrets we were unearthing were far older than humanity, and far deadlier. I activated the orbital hangars. Centuries-old weapons, preserved in cryostasis, hummed awake. "Admiral, the Earth-class plasma cannons are operational," Vash reported, awe and fear mixed in his voice. Each weapon was a relic of our hidden might, designed to rival entire fleets. Now, after centuries of silence, they were in our hands again. Humanity was no longer a planet. We were a force, a storm waiting to strike. From the bridge, I watched our fleet disperse into tactical formations, each ship a conductor of an invisible symphony. The black signal's final purpose became clear: coordination across centuries, synchronization across light years. I clenched my jaw. The galaxy would learn that the humans it had forgotten were the ones who would define its future. And as the first salvo of the reactivated Earth-class cannons ignited the void, I whispered a promise to the stars. "We have returned." Reports came in from multiple sectors. Alien coalitions fractured under the sudden emergence of our fleets. "Admiral, the Korvax are retreating, but the Zalari are consolidating," Vash noted, tension heavy in his voice. I leaned against the viewport. Centuries underground had taught humanity patience, but the galaxy hadn't learned restraint. Alliances were fragile. Fear was stronger. Every faction scrambled to understand what had awakened Earth's hidden force, yet none could anticipate the precision we wielded. Sensors detected a rogue signal, an echo of the black signal, but twisted, corrupted. "It's communicating with them," Vash muttered. The pulse wasn't just a call. It was a weapon, subtly bending alien systems against each other. I made the decision instantly. Deploy the Shadow Protocol. Hidden drones, cloaked and silent, would infiltrate enemy networks. Humanity didn't just fight in the open. We fought in the dark, where fear was magnified and our presence was a ghostly nightmare. We approached a planet once familiar, now lost to time, Earth's twin colonies buried under centuries of war and neglect. "Admiral, are we ready to reclaim what was ours?" Vash asked. I didn't answer immediately. This wasn't just a mission, it was a homecoming. I let the engines hum, letting the weight of centuries of preparation settle over us. Every step of this war had been calculated, every ship a vessel of memory. Humanity's ghosts were alive again, and they demanded justice. Orbital scans revealed hidden arsenals, left untouched by alien invaders. I activated the retrieval sequences. Ancient weapon caches unfolded across the planet, massive railguns and plasma turrets surfacing from beneath the crust. "They underestimated what patience can build," I said softly. The black signal had not only woken humanity, it had unearthed the legacy we left behind. And as the fleet readied itself to strike the first alien outpost, I realized that victory would require more than firepower. It required cunning, patience, and a reminder that Earth always returns. Our scientists and AI analysts worked feverishly on the corrupted black signal fragment. "It's recursive," one muttered. Every pattern revealed another, deeper code. I frowned. The activation key had layers we hadn't anticipated. Every alien system they touched seemed to pulse with it, bending their fleets to chaos. Humanity had hidden more than ships and weapons beneath Earth's surface. We had hidden a system capable of rewriting war itself. Vash pointed to the star maps. "Admiral, if we follow the signal's threads, we can predict fleet movements before they happen." I realized the truth. This wasn't just an awakening. It was a map, a weapon, and a guide, all in one. Our fleets surged forward, weaving through enemy territory with surgical precision. The galaxy's defenders were reacting, but they were already behind. Humanity's return wasn't a spark. It was a tidal wave, and the black signal was the undertow pulling everything into our orbit. Sensors screamed as a fleet emerged from the Coran Rift, ambushing our forward scouts. "Admiral, they've coordinated this perfectly," Vash shouted. I clenched my jaw. Coordination was expected, but timing this perfectly against humans who had prepared for centuries. Impressive. "Prepare the intercept grid, channel 6 through 12. We'll turn their trap into a tomb," I ordered. Humanity's patience had always been our weapon. Now it would be their undoing. The first salvo hit. Alien cruisers disintegrated under concentrated plasma arcs. The rift became a corridor of fire and debris, every explosion choreographed to maximize chaos among the enemy. Yet the ambush was more than brute force. It was a test. The black signal's deeper code was alive here, guiding us. I realized something chilling. Earth had not only been sleeping for centuries, it had been evolving, learning, waiting for the galaxy to reveal its weaknesses. And now it was awake. As the Corin Rift cleared, analysts discovered a structure within the debris, a monolith broadcasting in a frequency identical to the black signal. "Admiral, this predates human civilization," Vash said, eyes wide. I stared at the console. The signal wasn't merely human technology. It had origins we could scarcely imagine. The black signal wasn't just a key for Earth's fleet. It was part of something older, something alive across the stars, and now it was pointing us forward. I ordered the fleet to lock formation around the monolith. Ancient codes pulsed through our systems, integrating with human weapons, sensors, and AI cores. It was no longer just a fleet. It was a single organism, a living strike force. Humanity had returned from the grave, but not alone. The galaxy had been waiting, and we were the harbingers of something greater. In unison, I whispered, "Let them remember us, not as humans, but as inevitability." The monolith's code pulsed through our fleet like a heartbeat. "Admiral, it's rewriting our targeting protocols," Vash said, awe and fear blending in his tone. Every ship adjusted autonomously, firing before I could even issue commands. Humanity's hidden AI, dormant for centuries, was awakening alongside us. I realized the war was no longer just against the alien fleets. It was a test of intelligence, adaptability, and will. A distant star system blinked, revealing alien garrisons scrambling. The monolith's frequencies pulsed in their networks, turning coordination into chaos. I gritted my teeth. This wasn't magic. It was evolution compressed into signals. We were no longer just humans with weapons. We were conduits for something older, something smarter, something the galaxy had never known. And the longer we moved, the more it became clear. The black signal was only the beginning. The void spire loomed, an alien fortress orbiting a dead star. "Admiral, sensors show energy surges unlike anything we've faced," Vash reported. I peered at the glowing towers, each pulse a warning, each beam a death sentence. But centuries underground had taught us ingenuity. I ordered the fleet to form a spiral assault pattern, focusing fire while drones infiltrated the spire's systems. Humanity had mastered patience. Now we would master chaos. Explosions lit the void like fireworks. Alien ships scrambled, their defenses unraveling under the combined assault of human ingenuity and the monolith's guidance. As our drones penetrated the spire's core, I felt a tremor in the fleet's AI network. Something ancient stirred, responding to the intruders. Humanity's return had triggered more than fear. It had awakened the void itself. And from the shadows, something far older than any civilization watched. Calculating, waiting. A fleet appeared, cloaked, silent, moving in perfect formation. "Admiral, these ships, they're listening," Vash murmured. I clenched my jaw. The galaxy was full of surprises, but none like this. Every ship in the Whispering Fleet moved as one, anticipating our maneuvers. Humanity's centuries of hidden strategy met its first true challenge. But the black signal's code pulsed in our systems, adjusting, predicting, countering. I issued commands without speaking, letting AI interfaces execute the maneuvers. Plasma arcs danced, missiles flared, and the Whispering Fleet faltered. They had underestimated humans' ability to adapt, not just with weapons, but with intellect. The monolith hummed in resonance, guiding our hands, whispering strategies across light years. And as the enemy faltered, I realized that victory would not just be firepower, it would be a battle of minds. Humanity had returned, not as a force to be reckoned with, but as a force to be feared. In the aftermath, our fleet paused to assess damage and anomalies. "Admiral, the monolith's signal is fragmenting," Vash warned. I stared at the cascading codes on the screens. Fractured, yes, but intelligent. Each fragment seemed to evolve independently, like a virus of strategy, seeking new ways to influence both humans and enemies. The black signal was no longer a key. It was a living map of war, bending reality to its purpose. I ordered the fleet to follow the largest fragment into uncharted systems. Ancient star maps illuminated paths humans had never taken, revealing weapons caches and dormant fleets hidden for centuries. Every step forward was a gamble, but the potential was irresistible. Humanity had emerged from silence into a galaxy that thought us extinct. And now, guided by an intelligence older than our own, we moved as a singular entity, a storm no civilization could outrun. The fleet approached the Nexus, a system of intertwined energy fields and ancient constructs. Sensors screamed with interference. "Admiral, this place, it's alive," Vash whispered. I gripped the console. The black signal had led us here, but what awaited was beyond anything we had prepared for. Every ship's systems pulsed with anticipation, as if the void itself held its breath. Humanity had returned, but the galaxy's secrets were waking alongside us. Suddenly, the constructs fired, beams cutting across the void like blades. Shields flared, hulls shuddered, but the monolith's code guided us through the storm. Every maneuver felt preordained, every strike exact. I realized then that the black signal was not only a weapon, but a teacher. And as the fleet surged deeper into the Nexus, I whispered, "Let the galaxy learn what happens when silence becomes a storm." The war was no longer ours alone. It was awakening the universe itself. The Nexus had altered our fleet's neural synchronization. "Admiral, our sensors, they're seeing things we cannot," Vash reported, his voice tight. Energy ripples danced across space, revealing hidden fleets previously invisible. The black signal's fragments pulsed in tandem, guiding our ships with uncanny precision. Humanity was no longer moving through the galaxy. We were moving with it. Every strike, every maneuver felt predestined, as though centuries of waiting had been orchestrated for this exact moment. Alien fleets reacted with desperation, but their confusion only deepened. The Whispering Fleet and the Korvax reinforcements collided, unknowing pawns in a game they could not comprehend. I realized that the black signal's true power was not in the weapons it activated, but in the chaos it created among those who had never imagined a patient enemy. And as we pressed forward, a chilling thought settled over me. Humanity had awoken, but the galaxy's shadows had also begun to stir. Reports crackled over the comms. A human-aligned colony had fired on our fleet without warning. "Admiral, they've switched sides," Vash said, disbelief in his tone. Treachery after centuries underground. No one had anticipated this. I clenched my teeth. Humanity had returned, but the scars of secrecy ran deep. Some had grown impatient, others fearful. Yet the black signal had one purpose: unity. And nothing, not even betrayal, could break that chain. I ordered our ships to intercept the rogue colony. Drones scouted the surface while our AI networks projected warnings. The colonists' defenses collapsed as if guided by the same intelligence that had awakened us. I realized then that betrayal was a lesson, not a disaster. Every defector, every doubter, would either be reclaimed or neutralized. Humanity's return was not mercy. It was inevitability. And in that inevitability, we would show the galaxy that patience is far deadlier than impulse. Sensors picked up a fleet moving without engines, without energy signatures, seemingly a phantom in the void. "Admiral." "They are silent," Vash whispered. The Silent Armada had been a myth among alien civilizations, whispered as a ghost story. And yet, here they were, perfectly coordinated, completely unseen, reacting to our every move. I tightened my grip. If the black signal could awaken humans, perhaps this armada had a similar origin. Our fleet engaged cautiously, guided by the monolith's fragments. The Silent Armada struck in precise, fleeting bursts, testing our defenses, probing for weaknesses. Humanity adapted instantly, anticipating every attack, our weapons finding phantoms before they could strike. And yet, a deeper dread settled in me. The galaxy contained intelligence older than humanity, older than the black signal itself. And now it was awake. We had returned, but something else had risen alongside us. Our AI analysts discovered a hidden layer in the black signal, an embedded code interacting with alien fleets. "Admiral, it's rewriting their fleet protocols, forcing them into patterns," Vash said, awe lacing his words. I realized the truth. The black signal was no longer a weapon. It was a strategist, bending entire civilizations like pawns. Humanity had emerged from hiding, but now we were conduits for something far older, something that played war across the stars as if it were a game. I ordered the fleet to execute the coordinated patterns, using the alien fleet's own systems against them. Battles unfolded like a dance of chaos and order. Ships disintegrated, fleets scattered, and the galaxy's defenders could not comprehend the logic behind our movements. I felt a shiver as I stared at the screens. Humans were the visible force, but the true conductor remained hidden. The black signal had awakened humanity, but it had awakened everything else too. The Nexus pulsed with energy like a living heart. "Admiral, the constructs, they're aligning," Vash said. The monolith fragments connected with ancient stargates, activating systems long dormant. Humanity's fleet became a singular organism, synchronized with a power older than the galaxy. I realized that the black signal was more than a key. It was a summons, calling forth forces buried for eons. And we were the catalysts. As the fleet surged through the Nexus, alien defenses disintegrated before we could fire. Energy arcs illuminated the void, revealing hidden constructs, dormant weapons, and fleets lost to time. Humanity had returned not as a planet, not as a people, but as inevitability made manifest. I whispered to the stars, my voice lost among the engine's roar, "We are here. We have awakened, and the galaxy will remember." The war had truly begun, and the universe itself was alive with the promise of our return. Sensors detected an ancient gate hidden behind a pulsar cluster. "Admiral, it's human," Vash stammered. The architecture was unmistakable, centuries-old Earth design, buried and forgotten. The black signal's fragments pulsed toward it, as if guiding us home. I felt a pang of awe. Humanity had not only survived in hiding, it had left pieces of itself across the galaxy, waiting for the day we would return. As we approached, the gate activated, energy streaming in arcs that defied conventional physics. Our fleet reorganized automatically, synchronized with the monolith's code. Alien observers scrambled, unsure whether to attack or flee. Humanity had become both predator and strategist, moving through space like a shadow with purpose, and behind every pulse, every alignment, the black signal whispered a truth. Our destiny was no longer planetary. It was universal. A fleet approached from beyond a nebula, bearing a flag we did not recognize. Communications crackled. "Humans, we seek parley." I studied the transmissions. Could trust exist in a galaxy that had forgotten us? Vash's hand hovered over the countermeasures. "Admiral, it could be a trap." I shook my head. Humanity had emerged to reclaim, not destroy, what was ours, and sometimes survival required allies, even in an ocean of enemies. The fleet docked in formation, revealing ships of sleek design, older than any human craft but responsive to the black signal. Their AI systems synced partially with ours, creating a fragile but potent coordination. I issued a single command: integration. This alliance was not founded on trust, it was founded on necessity. And as our fleets moved together, I realized that the galaxy would have to learn quickly. Humans did not fight alone, but when they allied, their force became unstoppable. A new pulse echoed through our networks, darker than any before. "Admiral, it's the black signal, but corrupted," Vash said, voice trembling. Alien forces had discovered fragments and twisted them, creating a feedback loop in their fleets. Our systems flickered, AI cores adjusted instinctively, but the anomaly gnawed at me. For the first time, the tool that had guided humanity became a battlefield of its own code. We launched probes to stabilize the corrupted fragment, sending drones into the heart of alien networks. Every pulse we corrected revealed new layers, hidden programs older than any civilization we had encountered. I realized that the black signal was alive, evolving, and now learning from its enemies. Humanity had returned, but we were no longer simply masters of the signal. We were participants in its growth, and the universe was changing faster than any of us could predict. Alien fleets massed in the Jaren Belt, a minefield of dying stars and debris. "Admiral, this is a trap," Vash said grimly. I smirked. Traps were useless against humans who had planned for centuries. Our fleet weaved through magnetic storms, shields glowing, weapons primed. Every movement was calculated, every strike preemptive. The galaxy thought it could ambush us, but it had forgotten patience. Plasma arcs tore through corvettes and frigates, debris spiraling across the void. Drones infiltrated capital ships, turning alien systems against themselves. I felt the familiar pulse of the monolith guiding us through chaos. Humanity was no longer just returning. We were rewriting the rules of war. And as the Jaren Belt erupted in fire, I whispered to the void, "Let the galaxy remember the storm that waited beneath silence." The monolith fragments revealed coordinates buried in pulsar emissions, ancient outposts predating human civilization. "Admiral, these structures, they're enormous," Vash said. I studied them, awestruck. Humanity had returned, but now the black signal hinted at something older, something that had watched us long before our species could comprehend. Every pulse, every alignment, seemed to beckon us deeper into the galaxy's forgotten secrets. As our fleet approached, alien forces scrambled to intercept, but the ancient constructs activated, firing beams that destabilized enemy formations. Humanity's fleet moved like a symphony, guided by the signal and the relics of an intelligence older than any war. I realized the war we had begun was not only for survival, it was awakening forces the galaxy had long feared. And as we crossed the void, I knew our journey had only begun, with the echoes of the ancients leading the way. Our fleet entered the fractured nebula, where stars twisted like molten glass. "Admiral, sensors are unreliable here," Vash warned. Navigation required intuition, patience, and a trust in the monolith's guidance. The black signal pulsed like a heartbeat, threading the fleet together as one living organism. Alien scouts vanished in its frequencies, disoriented and panicked. Humanity had returned, and the universe's edges were no longer safe for those who ignored us. From the bridge, I watched our drones map hidden energy currents, ancient technology embedded in the nebula itself. "They thought darkness was a shield," I muttered, "but it is our ally." The fleet moved silently, striking where enemies expected nothing. The black signal had made us more than human, strategists, hunters, and architects of war. And as the nebulous storms swirled around us, I realized the galaxy had yet to see the full weight of what had emerged from silence. The Korvax flagship loomed above a dying planet, its weapons glowing with desperation. "Admiral, they've gathered everything they can," Vash said, tension crackling. I nodded. Desperation was predictable, exploitable. Humanity had mastered patience, but now the Korvax would learn the price of arrogance. Every salvo we fired was calculated, every feint pre-planned over centuries. The black signal orchestrated our hands like an invisible conductor. In unison, as our fleet encircled the Korvax forces, alien ships faltered under the monolith's guidance, systems betraying them from within. I smiled coldly. Humanity had returned not just to fight, but to rewrite history. The Korvax would remember this battle, not as a war lost, but as the day the patient predator emerged from the shadows. And as the final flagship erupted in plasma, I whispered, "Patience is our greatest weapon." Fragments of the black signal began resonating in patterns I had never seen. "Admiral, this is not human," Vash said, awe-stricken. The signal pulsed in strange harmonics, interfacing with alien fleets, our fleet, and even the ancient monoliths. I realized then the truth. We were conduits, not masters. The signal itself was alive, learning, evolving, and shaping the galaxy. Humanity had returned, but we were part of something far older and far greater. I ordered the fleet to synchronize fully with the signal. Energy flared across ships, AI cores integrated, and weapon systems harmonized with the monoliths. Every move became a dance of precision and inevitability. The galaxy's fleets scrambled, unable to adapt to forces they could neither see nor understand. Humanity had emerged from hiding, but the universe was revealing its own intelligence alongside us. And I felt a shiver. What we had awakened would not wait for us to lead. The Zalari fleet surged from hyperspace, their formation tighter than any we had faced. "Admiral, they know we're coming," Vash said. I clenched my fist. Knowledge without understanding was meaningless. Humanity had waited centuries, and every calculation, every maneuver, was honed in silence. We positioned the fleet in an ambush they could not predict. The black signal guided us like a living map, a weapon, and a mentor all at once. Crew plasma volleys lit the void, striking Zalari capital ships with precision that defied comprehension. Drones infiltrated alien systems, turning their own weapons against them. I realized the battle was no longer merely physical. It was an orchestration of code, strategy, and timing. Humanity had returned as inevitability incarnate. The Zalari would remember this day not as a defeat, but as the moment the universe shifted irreversibly in favor of a species they thought lost to history. Deep in the galactic core, sensors detected massive energy signatures. "Admiral, these are older than any civilization," Vash whispered. The monolith fragments pulsed violently, as if excited, warning, guiding. Humanity had awoken, but something else stirred, an intelligence dormant for eons, now alerted by our return. I realized then that the black signal was only the first layer of an ancient awakening, and the galaxy's true guardians were rising from their long slumber. Our fleet moved as one, weaving through corridors of energy and ancient constructs. Alien forces faltered, the monolith's code guiding every maneuver, every strike. I felt both awe and fear. Humanity had returned not just to reclaim the stars, but to participate in a cosmic awakening older than memory. Lighting the void, and I whispered, "We are here, and the ancients will see what we have become." The war had grown beyond us. The universe itself was alive with our return. Sensors flared as enormous ships materialized from the void, their hulls older than any known star system. "Admiral, these aren't Zalari or Korvax, they're Titans," Vash whispered. My jaw tightened. Humanity had returned, but the galaxy's forgotten architects of war had been awakened by the black signal. Our fleet is prepared, dwarfed in size but guided by centuries of patience and strategy. The Titans moved with eerie coordination, yet the monolith fragments pulsed in response. Weapons synchronized, drones infiltrated, and shields adapted. Humanity was small in comparison, but precision was our ally. Every strike, every maneuver was calculated through centuries of preparation and the guidance of a signal older than memory. And as the first Titan erupted in a controlled firestorm, I whispered to the fleet, "We are not merely survivors. We are inevitability." The Titan's presence distorted space around them. Sensors failed, navigation became chaotic, and reality itself seemed unstable. "Admiral, they're bending the fabric of space," Vash said, awe and fear in his voice. The black signal's fragments pulsed like a countermeasure, guiding our fleet through folds and rifts, predicting movements beyond comprehension. Humanity had returned, but now the very cosmos challenged us. We navigated the distortions, weapons synchronized through the monolith's guidance. Alien fleets were caught in the Titan's gravitational manipulations, disintegrating under precision strikes. I realized the black signal was more than a weapon. It was a map, a mentor, and a shield against forces the galaxy had long feared. Humanity had returned to a universe far older and far more dangerous than anyone imagined. And yet, we moved forward, engines roaring, undeterred. Communications scrambled as a faction of the newly allied fleets turned against us. "Admiral, the Jaren coalition has fired on our rear wing," Vash reported, incredulous. Centuries underground had taught humanity patience, but betrayal tested it anew. I clenched my jaw. Some would follow us out of fear, some out of loyalty. But the black signal had one command: unity. Those who defied it would be removed. We reacted instantly, drones disabling systems and redirecting fire. The traitorous fleets were neutralized with minimal casualties, their weapons co-opted by the monolith's code. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as inevitability incarnate. Betrayal was part of the lesson, and those who opposed us discovered that the black signal guided not only human fleets, but their own failure. I whispered to the void, "No one escapes the currents we have awakened." The Titans converged on a colossal ancient structure in the galactic core, the source of the black signal. "Admiral, it's the origin point," Vash said. The structure pulsed violently, energy streaming across light years. Humanity had returned, but now we approached a revelation. The black signal was not human. It was older, sentient, a force buried in the galaxy awaiting our emergence. We moved closer, our fleet synchronized with the structure, the monolith fragments harmonizing with its pulse. Alien fleets attempted interference, but their weapons faltered, systems bending under the signal's authority. Humanity was no longer merely returning. We were ascending. And as the Nexus's energy enveloped our ships, I realized the black signal's final lesson. The galaxy itself was alive, and we were its chosen agents. The war had shifted from survival to revelation. Energy cascaded across the void as the ancient structure awakened fully. "Admiral, it's speaking," Vash whispered. Patterns of light formed words and frequencies only our fleet's AI could decode. The black signal was a fragment of something greater, a consciousness older than any civilization, guiding, observing, testing. Humanity's patience and ingenuity had activated it. But the question remained: what was its true purpose? The message was clear: you are not alone. The galaxy watches. You are the heirs of my design. I felt awe, fear, and determination intertwine. Humanity had returned from silence, guided by a signal older than memory, awakening forces beyond comprehension. The fleet held formation, ready to embrace this revelation. The war was no longer merely human, it was a cosmic trial, and we were its participants. and in that moment, I knew the universe had truly awakened alongside us. The Titans loomed larger than ever, their presence bending space and light. "Admiral, the energy readings, they're coordinating," Vash said, awe in his voice. Our fleet adjusted formation, guided by the monolith fragments. Humanity's centuries of preparation now faced a foe older than stars themselves. Every maneuver was a gamble, every strike a test of the black signal's guidance. We struck with precision, exploiting gravitational anomalies the Titans could not predict. Alien fleets scattered under the onslaught, systems turning against themselves. I realized then, the Titans were not merely weapons. They were guardians, observing, assessing, and humanity had returned not to destroy, but to prove we were worthy. Every explosion, every flicker of energy whispered a warning. The galaxy had awakened, and we were now its measured force. Reports came in from every sector. Allied fleets fractured under internal sabotage. "Admiral, the Zharan remnants have cut communications," Vash said grimly. I clenched my fist. Centuries of secrecy had made humanity patient, but patience had limits. Every rogue element would be neutralized. Humanity's return demanded unity, and the black signal would enforce it with precision. We deployed drones to restore order, turning betrayal into advantage. Alien forces attempted to exploit the chaos, but every move was anticipated, every trap dismantled. The monolith fragments pulsed in resonance with our fleet, predicting, correcting, guiding. Humanity had emerged from silence to master not only fleets but the very currents of strategy. And as the void erupted in fire and light, I whispered, "No shadow can stand against the storm we have awakened." Energy readings spiked from the galactic core. "Admiral, the source, the ancients. It's active," Vash said, voice tight. The black signal's fragments flared, guiding our fleet toward a cluster of structures older than memory. Humanity had returned, but the universe itself was waking alongside us. Every pulse of energy seemed alive, sentient, responding to our movements. Our ships synchronized, weapons and shields attuned to the ancient frequencies. Alien fleets attempted to resist, but the black signal overrode their systems with surgical precision. I realized the core was a test, a crucible for civilizations, and humanity had passed. We pressed deeper, feeling the immense weight of the awakening consciousness, and as the void pulsed with unimaginable energy, I whispered, "We have returned, and we will endure." The ancient constructs pulsed with judgment. "Admiral, it's evaluating us," Vash muttered. The black signal guided our fleet through a gauntlet of energy storms, gravitational distortions, and temporal anomalies. Humanity had returned, but now we were tested not by alien fleets, but by the cosmos itself. Every decision, every maneuver was scrutinized by a force older than the stars. Ships shuddered as we passed through the trials, shields absorbing energy fluctuations, drones repairing instantaneous breaches. The Titans observed, silent and unyielding, as if measuring our worth. I realized then that survival was no longer the goal. Humanity's return had sparked something far greater, an evaluation, a cosmic trial, and the universe itself was the arbiter. We pressed forward, each pulse of the black signal guiding our fate. At the galaxy's edge, a massive structure emerged, an artificial star, its surface etched with runes older than any memory. "Admiral, this is the origin of the black signal," Vash said. The ancient intelligence spoke through light, guiding our fleet, assessing every maneuver. Humanity had returned, but the final revelation was at hand. Every fleet, every weapon, every AI core was now part of a test far larger than war. Our fleet, aligned with the structure, synchronized perfectly with the monolith fragments. Alien forces attempted to intervene, but the star itself reacted, neutralizing threats with calculated force. I realized the truth. The black signal was a fragment of this intelligence. sent to awaken civilizations capable of understanding it. Humanity had returned from silence, but now we faced the ultimate question. Were we ready to inherit the galaxy, or merely its instruments? I whispered, "We will find out." Massive forms emerged from the galactic void, ancient warships, older than recorded history. "Admiral, they're not Korvax or Zalari, they're Guardians," Vash whispered. Our fleet adjusted formation. Humanity had returned, but now we faced forces designed to judge civilizations, not destroy them. Every weapon, every maneuver was measured against an intelligence older than stars. The Guardians moved with surgical precision, testing our fleet's cohesion. Alien fleets scrambled under the monolith's guidance, but the Guardians remained indifferent, assessing only human strategy. I realized then that survival was no longer enough. Humanity's return had awakened watchers older than memory, and the black signal was the key to proving we belonged in this cosmos. Every pulse of our fleet was a declaration. We had returned, and we would endure. Enemy fleets converged at the galactic rim, seeking to intercept us before we reached the ancient structure. "Admiral, it's a trap," Vash said, voice tight. We split the fleet, guided by the black signal's evolving code. Humanity had mastered patience. Now we would master chaos. Every strike was a deception, every maneuver a calculated ghost. The alien fleets collided with each other, sabotaged by drones we had embedded in their systems. The Guardians observed silently, energy arcs testing every ship. I realized then that the battlefield was not merely physical. It was a test of intellect and unity. Humanity had returned from centuries underground, not just as a fleet, but as a measured force, adapting faster than any intelligence in the galaxy. And the black signal guided every pulse of our strategy. The monolith fragments pulsed violently, forming coherent patterns across every ship. "Admiral, it's communicating directly," Vash said. Light and energy formed words decipherable only by our AI. "You have awakened. You are observed. You are chosen." I felt awe, fear, and anticipation collide. Humanity had returned, but now we were participants in a conversation older than any star system. The signal detailed a test. Civilizations must prove their patience, ingenuity, and unity to inherit the galaxy. Alien fleets, Titans, and Guardians were part of this trial, obstacles and teachers alike. I realized that every battle, every maneuver, every betrayal and alliance had been orchestrated to prepare us. We accepted the challenge. Humanity had returned, not to conquer, but to earn our place among forces older than memory. A fleet of dormant human vessels, hidden for centuries, activated simultaneously. "Admiral, these are pre-black signal constructs," Vash whispered. Hundreds of ships joined our formation, guided by centuries-old algorithms and the signal's code. Humanity's hidden arsenal had awakened at the right moment, tipping the balance of power in our favor. The ancient Guardians tested the new fleet, energy pulses cutting through void space. Every maneuver we executed was scrutinized, every strike calculated by the intelligence behind the black signal. Humanity had returned, not as a single force, but as an unstoppable, synchronized organism. And as the Catalyst fleet aligned perfectly with the monolith's guidance, I whispered, "Let the galaxy see what patience and strategy can achieve." The galactic core ignited with energy as alien fleets, Guardians, and Titans converged. "Admiral, this is the final test," Vash said. Our fleet moved into formation, guided by the monolith and the black signal. Every ship, every weapon, every maneuver was synchronized across light years. Humanity had returned, and the trial of fire had begun. The battle erupted, a symphony of energy, light, and destruction. Alien fleets faltered under precision strikes, Guardians tested our cohesion, and Titans assessed strategy. The black signal pulsed through every system, guiding, correcting, and predicting. I realized that survival was no longer the goal. Mastery was. Humanity had returned not just to exist, but to prove our worth to forces older than memory itself. Across the void, and I whispered, "Let them witness the inevitability we have become." The Titans surged, their colossal forms casting shadows across the void. "Admiral, they're moving as one," Vash said, awe-stricken. Our fleet adjusted, guided by the monolith's pulse. Humanity had returned, but now faced an intelligence older than the stars themselves. Every maneuver was calculated. Every strike tested our adaptability. Plasma arcs erupted across the void, striking Titans' hulls with surgical precision. Alien fleets scattered, systems failing under coordinated drone assaults. I realized the Titans were not just enemies. They were examiners. Humanity's patience and strategy had been evaluated, and now we were proving our worth. In unison, a declaration. We had returned, and nothing in the galaxy would halt our advance. The galactic core shimmered with energy as ancient constructs awoke. "Admiral, this is beyond anything we've seen," Vash said. The black signal guided our fleet through gravitational anomalies, energy storms, and collapsing starfields. Humanity had returned, but now we were navigating a test older than memory. Our ships synchronized perfectly. Shields and weapons harmonized with the monolith's guidance. Alien fleets collided with the energy fields, failing under the signal's authority. I realized the core was not a target. It was a crucible. Humanity had emerged from centuries underground, but the universe itself was assessing us. We pressed deeper, every pulse of energy a judgment we were determined to meet. Energy cascaded as massive forms emerged, entities older than the galaxy itself. "Admiral, they are watching," Vash whispered, shields flaring as the watchers assessed our fleet. Humanity had returned, but now we faced observers of cosmic scale. Every move, every strike, was a statement of our resolve. The watchers' energies tested our cohesion, bending reality around our fleet. Alien forces disintegrated under precise strikes, guided by the black signal. I realized then that the Watchers were neither friend nor foe. They were arbiters. Humanity had returned not just to fight, but to prove our capability to wield the galaxy's power responsibly. And as the void pulsed with ancient energy, I whispered, "We are worthy. We have returned." The monolith fragments pulsed violently, aligning across every system. "Admiral, the black signal, it's evolving," Vash said, awe in his voice. Energy streams formed bridges between ships, titans, and ancient constructs. Humanity had returned, but the signal had become more than guidance. It was a living intelligence, integrating all that we had achieved. Weapons, shields, and AI systems harmonized across fleets. Alien forces faltered, titans tested us, and watchers assessed our coordination. I realized the black signal was no longer a fragment. It was the consciousness of strategy, war, and evolution itself. Humanity had returned not only as a force, but as participants in shaping the galaxy's destiny. I whispered, "We are the signal incarnate. We are inevitability." All fleets converged at the galactic nexus, an ancient structure radiating unimaginable energy. "Admiral, this is the alignment," Vash said. The black signal pulsed, synchronizing all forces. Humanity had returned, and the final stage of the trial was at hand. Every maneuver, every weapon, every strategy was under scrutiny. Energy flared across the void as titans, alien fleets, watchers, and human forces moved in perfect unison. The monolith's fragments guided every action, turning chaos into harmony. I realized the ultimate truth. Humanity had been tested for patience, ingenuity, and unity. We had returned from centuries underground, and now the galaxy itself recognized us, not merely as survivors, but as inheritors of an intelligence older than stars. I whispered, "We are awake. We are the storm the universe has waited for." Our fleet pierced the edge of the galaxy, entering voids uncharted for millennia. "Admiral, Sensors are picking up anomalies, Vash said, unease in his voice. The black signal pulsed ahead, guiding us into regions untouched by time. Humanity had returned, but the universe beyond our galaxy was alive, ancient, and watching. Energy currents twisted through space, alien fleets fragmented under coordinated strikes, Titans maneuvered to test us, and Watchers observed silently. Every pulse of the black signal harmonized our movements. I realized that humanity's journey was no longer local. It was cosmic. Across the void, as we followed the signal's guidance, prepared to confront intelligence older than even the galaxy itself, a massive structure appeared, floating among collapsed stars, its energy signature resonating with the black signal. Admiral. It's an echo of the ancients, Vash whispered. Our fleet aligned automatically, engines roaring, shields flaring. Humanity had returned, and now we faced remnants of the intelligence that had orchestrated the galaxy's balance for eons. Drones infiltrated the structure, AI mapping corridors of energy and ancient defense systems. Alien fleets attempted interference but were neutralized instantly. I realized the black signal was preparing us for contact, testing our adaptability and intellect. Humanity was no longer a hidden species. We were the galaxy's new fulcrum, and the echoes of the ancients were awakening in response to our presence. The ancient structure pulsed with energy, projecting visions across the fleet. Admiral, it's communicating, Vash said. Symbols, patterns, and frequencies transmitted knowledge beyond comprehension. Humanity had returned, but this was no longer war. It was an evaluation of civilization, a test of ingenuity and unity. We executed maneuvers predicted by the projections, shields flaring in resonance with the structure's energy, weapons striking with precision. Titans observed silently, alien fleets faltered, and the black signal pulsed in anticipation. I understood then. The universe was assessing us, and our centuries of patience, secrecy, and strategy were the keys to passing. Humanity had returned not only to survive, but to inherit a legacy older than memory itself. Every fleet, alien and human, converged on the ancient structure. Admiral, this is the culmination, Vash said. We formed an unstoppable formation, every ship synchronized through the black signal. Humanity had returned, and now every action would determine the balance of power across the stars. Plasma arcs, gravitational distortions, and energy beams painted the void as battles unfolded. Alien fleets faltered, Titans tested strategy, and Watchers assessed coordination. The monolith fragments pulsed, integrating every movement into a living symphony of war and strategy. Humanity had returned not as a planet, not as a fleet, but as an intelligence capable of rivaling the ancients themselves. And the universe was listening. The structure pulsed with incomprehensible energy, revealing a massive presence, the intelligence behind the black signal itself. Admiral, it's alive, Vash whispered, shields flaring in anticipation. Humanity had returned, and now we faced the conductor of the cosmos, a consciousness older than stars, testing our worth. The black signal harmonized fully with our fleet, turning ships into conduits of energy and strategy. Alien fleets, Titans, and Watchers paused, observing the union. I realized the truth. Humanity was no longer just a species. We were part of something larger, a living instrument in the orchestration of the galaxy. I whispered, "We have returned, and we are ready to inherit the music of the cosmos." The intelligence behind the black signal revealed itself fully, a web of energy spanning light years. Admiral, it's conducting everything, Vash whispered. Our fleet moved as one with the signal, weapons, and shields resonating in harmony. Humanity had returned, but now we were instruments in a cosmic symphony, every maneuver a note in a song older than stars. Alien fleets, Titans, and Watchers collided in a chaotic crescendo, unable to match the precision of our synchronized force. The black signal guided every strike, every defense, every calculation. Until I realized the final battle was not about destruction. It was proof of understanding, patience, and unity. Humanity had emerged from silence to conduct the music of the cosmos, and nothing could stop the harmony we had become. The galactic core pulsed, revealing the central nexus of the black signal. "Admiral, it's alive," Vash said. Energy streams formed shapes and frequencies that defied comprehension, interfacing with every ship. Humanity had returned, but the universe's consciousness awaited our final demonstration. Our fleet aligned fully with the nexus, every system synchronized. Alien forces faltered, Titans tested our limits, and Watchers observed silently. I understood then that the black signal was not a weapon. It was a mentor, a judge, and a gatekeeper. We stepped into the heart of its power. Humanity had returned not as a survivor, but as a force capable of shaping the destiny of galaxies. Alien fleets launched a desperate final assault. "Admiral, this is it," Vash said, tension crackling. Our fleet executed maneuvers beyond conventional comprehension. Every strike was preordained, guided by the intelligence behind the black signal. Humanity had returned to face the ultimate challenge, and failure was not an option. Titans clashed with our formation, energy arcs lighting the void. Alien fleets crumbled under precision attacks. I realized the universe itself had become the battlefield, and humanity was both conductor and participant. Every pulse of energy, every movement, resonated with inevitability. Across the void, and I whispered, "We are here. We are the future, and nothing will unmake what we have awakened." The intelligence acknowledged our success, pulsing through the fleet in waves of energy. "Admiral, it recognizes us," Vash whispered. Alien remnants ceased fire, Titans halted their assault, and Watchers observed with solemnity. Humanity had returned, not merely as a fleet, but as a civilization recognized by forces older than memory. The black signal harmonized with every ship, weapon, and AI, turning the entire fleet into a single, conscious entity. I realized that the galaxy itself had been our trial, and we had passed. The fleet held formation, a monument of strategy, patience, and unity. Humanity had returned from silence, and the universe had remembered. The black signal pulsed one final time, a wave of energy spanning the galaxy. "Admiral, the trial is complete," Vash said softly. Our fleet stabilized, ancient energy settling into harmony. Humanity had returned not as a planet, not as a fleet, but as a force of inevitability, recognized by the cosmos itself. I gazed across the stars, knowing that our centuries of silence had forged something greater than survival. Alien fleets had learned, Titans had tested, Watchers had judged, and humanity had emerged united, strategic, and unstoppable. The galaxy had changed forever. I whispered to the void, "We have returned. We are the storm beneath silence, and the universe will never forget." As humanity's legacy began, eternal and unstoppable. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.